Your unique story, our global audience. Global One Media.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Global One Media's exclusive one-on-one interviews with company executives sharing insights into their unique journey. I'm your host, Ashley Berry, and we're thrilled you're joining us. Joel Freudman, CEO and Director at TRU Metals, is with us today, a company exploring for gold and copper in the highly prospective Central Newfoundland Gold Belt. They're listed on the TSXV as TRU, the OTCQB as TRUIF, and the Frankfurt Exchange as 706. Joel, great to have you with us today.
As usual, Ashley, thanks for having me.
Great. So TRU works on exploring gold properties. What makes gold so attractive in your opinion? And what's your outlook on gold in the medium and long term?
Well, gold has traditionally been seen as a safe haven investment. And when you consider how uncertain things are nowadays, gold really shines, I guess, in this kind of environment. Central banks tend to use it also to support their currencies. And so you're really seeing an increasing demand for gold from central banks and individual investors who want to hedge against this uncertainty with a safe haven. I think when you consider everything going on in terms of the central bank and government money printing effectively or money creation, high rates of inflation, these kind of macro factors play into a support for a price of gold, which has breached $2,000 recently. And certainly it's held around there. And so I think in the medium and even long term, you're going to see an increasing base for the gold price because of all this macro uncertainty and various other economic factors that support the price of gold.
Interesting. And, there are different ways to invest in gold, such as buying physical gold or gold ETFs. And investors can establish exposure to gold by holding shares of exploration companies as well. Perhaps you can tell us about each method and the pros and the cons.
I think that's an excellent question because just saying gold, doesn't automatically direct you into how to invest in it. If you're buying gold as an individual, you're most likely not buying gold bars like a central bank would buy. You're probably buying gold coins or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If you're going in larger quantities, there would be storage costs, transportation costs, and it just kind of sits there. I think, but at the same time, you have physical gold, which, you shouldn't discount because then you've got it in your hands. So it's very tangible. A gold ETF is kind of a step removed. It's like a claim on the ability to get physical gold without getting into all the intricacies. Suffice to say, you don't actually have the gold itself, but you can trade it a bit more easily, right? You can easily buy and sell like a stock. And I think what can be advantageous there is the ETF should more or less track the gold price. So it's a pretty easy way to say, well, I want exposure to gold. Where it gets pretty interesting is the junior exploration companies. And you can look at them as like a levered bet on gold. Or there's more torque than simply owning gold itself. You look at a company like TRU and our Golden Rose project where we have high-grade gold. Not only should our share price be supported by the general gold price, so there is kind of a bit of a tracking factor, but in addition, for companies like ours or any junior gold exploration companies, as they explore and discover, you have real kind of potential for multiple upside based on that discovery, which is more exciting than the price of gold itself moving up $20 or $50 in a day, which itself is meaningful. And so that's why junior exploration, it's a more speculative way to play the gold theme for sure. But at the same time, you certainly have, the higher risk, definitely higher reward potential with junior exploracos like TRU.
Interesting. So let's talk about you being the co-founder of the company. Let's kind of dive a little bit deeper in the difference between investing in gold instead of crypto.
That's an interesting question for someone of my age. I'm a millennial. I think that kind of plays to a debate that a lot of people, as well as older and younger generations would have around gold and whether it still forms a role in a portfolio. The key distinction, perhaps, gold has outlived every other fiat currency in the world. So it's got the history to it for sure. You can't overlook that. As a follow-on from that, central banks buy gold. They're certainly not buying crypto. At the same time, I'm not one of these people who says, well, it has to be either or. I say, depending on your risk profile, why not both in a portfolio? There's probably an allocation to have both in your portfolio. Again, depending on your risk tolerance, gold has this, it's a historical store of value, counteracts inflation. It's a very liquid market between most people in the world. Crypto, you can get to the more speculative end like Dogecoin, and you really have no idea what you're getting into. But even if you're looking at the more stable, which is the wrong word to use, but the more well-known cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, they can act as a hedge against inflation in some sense, but they also have a significant volatility and they're a bit more unproven. So I think you may want to allocate, if your bet is, let's say, I want to hedge against maybe inflation or increased money printing around the world, you probably want to have a good allocation to gold because of its traditional safe haven status. And you may also want to throw a few bucks at maybe some of the more well-known cryptocurrencies that you think would benefit in times of inflation and monetary debasement. So it's really up to the individual investor to choose how they want to allocate their assets.
But excellent insights and advice there. Perhaps you could elaborate a little bit on your gold exploration projects and why they're a good proxy investment in gold.
So our Golden Rose project in Central Newfoundland, it's beside what's becoming a gold mine in about a year and a half's time. A company called Marathon Gold, they have 5 million ounces of gold. They're building the mine. So there's going to be gold getting produced beside us in about a year and a half or so. That should be a great catalyst for a re-rating of TRU stock. And that has nothing to do with what we find on our property. The additional benefit over, let's say, a gold ETFs, gold physical, cryptocurrencies to something like TRU is late last year, we discovered high-grade gold through channel sampling on a property. So basically, we have a pretty good degree of confidence of what's there. The numbers look very good. If you're not necessarily a technical person, we had high-grade gold, it's very hard to find. Most companies will never see what we had. So there's still work to be done in our end in terms of firming up how much is there, a number of kind of follow-on steps that you'd look at. There's definitely time before it would ever become a mine if that would ever happen. But we don't even necessarily need to get that far ahead of ourselves. We simply need to discover more and expand on what we currently found. And that discovery should provide the upside potential, like the torque relative to gold prices, as we continue to develop the discovery on our project.
Yeah, and it sounds like what you've already discovered has really incredible prospects for maybe even the near future. Given that, any last message you'd like to convey to investors?
Sure. I'll be pretty candid with everyone. We know the market sucks, that right around now, like everyone's uncertain. It's a very uncertain time. What do you kind of do to action something like that? I mean, you can sit entirely in cash and deal with inflation. You could go buy gold bars if you're so inclined. Most people might say, hey, well, I don't know if I want to invest in a microcap. The way I look at it is what you really want to do to have a shot at building wealth over time is you want to invest in things that have fundamental value, but that no one wants right now. You want to be buying when everyone else is selling. And so that's why, for example, my merchant bank, Resurgent Capital, invested $250,000 into TRU about a month ago. We believe in buying in when other people don't want to touch it, because there will come a time when everyone wants to buy it. And so I think with something like TRU, where we have a major discovery, we have cash in the bank, we have this gold exposure, we have some copper exposure, even interestingly, which is kind of plays into the electrification of the economy theme. There's a lot at TRU, and you're getting this for a pretty negligible value on the company. I'd say the time to buy is now. And you just have to have some patience and believe in management and the rest of the company and the project, that it will pay off if you have some patience.
Well, as we always say here, this is a platform for investors to make informed decisions. Joel Freudman, CEO and Director at TRU Precious Metals, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for sharing these exciting and impressive insights. We at Global One look forward to sharing much more with our audience soon.
Thanks for having me, Ashley, and thanks everybody for watching.